Good morning once again and welcome to Rapid Done right here on Rapid Television. My name is Martha Alu.
My name is Victor. Okay, welcome to the big conversation right here on Rapid Done.
I hope you've been having a fantastic morning so far.
Beautiful morning it is.
Well, today's conversation basically is, I'd say it's one thing that when we were much younger, they'll tell you to refrain from. Don't borrow this. If you pick a pencil from school, you know, your parents will be like, who gave you this pencil? Return it. But I mean, the fact that it moved from from being just the petty things we experience in classrooms to like a bigger sector, right, I think is something that is worthy of being addressed this morning, which we would. And right now, across Nigeria, thousands of contractors, indigenous Nigerians who borrowed from banks, pledged their homes as collateral and used their life savings to execute government-approved projects and are waiting to be paid. Some are in court fighting banks, some have lost their properties, some have even taken their own lives, and the numbers are staggering. It says over 4 trillion naira is owed to contractors for work already completed and verified in 2025. The federal government released only 8.7% of its capital budget, leaving over 91% of approved spending simply unspent. Now, when contractors protested at the Ministry of Finance, they were ignored. When they stormed the National Assembly, plenary was suspended for a week, and when they gathered outside the FCT minister's office in Abuja, they were met not with payment, but with heavily armed security operatives and tear gas. This is not a cash flow problem. This is a culture of delay, a culture of deflection, of government treating its own vendors as an afterthought. And in doing so, silently strangling the private sector that keeps this economy breathing. Today, we are asking the question that every Nigerian vendor, contractor, small business owner, and service provider deserves an answer to. Why does Nigeria not pay its bills? And who is ultimately responsible? And joining us this morning, I would say, is our colleague, a broadcast journalist and communications expert, Emmanuel Omewere. Permit me to exclude the last one. I might just talk this morning. Thank you so much.
It's Emmanuel Omewere Ohiomohai.
Ohiomohai. I'll forget it in 1 minute.
Martha, you're my mother.
Let's stop at Omewere.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us on the
Thank
conversation.
you, Martha and Victor.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, in fact, that's a fantastic opening to this conversation.
Thank you very much. All right, let's just get into the crux of the matter, which would be about now owing. And I know you followed the story. We've seen your videos, you know, calling out vendors and calling out government, and, you know, basically people who hire these contractors to pay them what they're due. Sometimes it takes 1 month, it takes years, you know, as you know. But you see, one thing has been constant. The government say they've released the money. In fact, at some point they claimed that they had actually paid the money, but the contractors had not received any money whatsoever. What do you think is responsible for this culture that we have now adopted as a country?
In fact, I'm so happy you've defined it as a culture and it's a bad culture.
Very bad.
Because it's not just government. It has spiraled down to the private sector and even non-governmental organizations. And so I see this every day. And so I had no choice but to start a campaign which I call the Pay Vendors Fast campaign. Okay. Now, what is this all about? You see that a vendor does a job, and all of a sudden, you know, everybody, when I have a contract with you, you tell me, okay, I want you to do this job within this specific period. It's either I pay you an advance or I pay you after the job. So every government institution, private institution, or NGO, non-governmental organizations, they have the way they operate. Now, when the vendor delivers the job and you are satisfied and the vendor submits his invoice or her invoice, then you now have a long stretch of payments, of delayed payments rather, a long stretch of delayed payments. The vendor waits. Now, for instance, most government institutions will say, give us 30 days before we pay. But you see, these 30 days, it extends to 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, sometimes 1 year, just like your intro said. Now, most of these vendors, they have borrowed money to actualize this. And they are in debt. And I give you an instance. Last year, I'm a businessman too. And last year, I got a contract. Good contract. Oh, I was very happy. Not for a government institution, but for a non-governmental organization. And I did. First, they said the contract is for 1.5 months. Now, what is this contract? You know, I'm a service provider. I do documentaries. I do programming. Now, I was to do a 24-episode program for an organization, an NGO. And the NGO said, we will do it within 1.5 months. First, you are broadcasters. You will know that it's almost impossible to deliver 24 episodes program in 1.5 months. But I told them, and I told them from the very beginning, that this is quite impossible. They said, no, we want to deliver the 1.5 months. Well, I'm looking for money. I signed the contract, and I told them that we'll be able to do it. But I looked at it, we will just call for an extension. I looked at most 3 months for us to deliver the 24 episodes of program. You wouldn't believe it. The 24 episodes of program was based on their activities. They did those activities within 9 months. What was supposed to be a 1.5 month contract, they did those activities within 9 months. And in every tranche, they were to pay me in 3 tranches. In every tranche of payment, there was a delay of 6 weeks.
That's over a month.
Over a month. In every tranche of payment. I had collected loans to achieve this project. I'm still paying it up till now.
Wow.
And so, they haven't met their part.
No, they finished paying in February this year, but I'm still paying the loans that I collect because there are interests on these loans. The loans are not given to you for free of charge. And even the banks, you don't even go to banks for loans sometimes. You go to some, I want to call them Shylocks. But they are the ones who are the quickest to give you loans to do this. But they give you at high percentages. Even if it was the banks, it would have been worse. Probably they would have taken me to prison by now.
or you have lost your collateral.
So basically, I'm just saying that there are issues on, when we look at it, that's even the loan part. Then let's look at the value chain effect. I have workers I pay. You know, Abuja is full of malls. Abuja is full of malls, and in each mall you have like 100 businesses that employ like 10 to 15 workers. And you have those people who work, and sometimes their businesses do business or with other people and they are not paid. The business owner wants to pay his worker. So if there are different organizations that are owing, how does he pay his worker? How does he pay? For me, I use other sub-vendors. How do I pay these sub-vendors? Sometimes I have to borrow again to pay sub-vendors, awaiting my own payment. So the chain effect, the collateral damage, the consequences is terrible, is damaging. And for like what I said before, it's becoming a culture. And it's a culture we must stop in Nigeria. If, for instance, you have an agreement to pay within a certain percentage, a certain period of time, you should be able to keep to that period. Because you should know that what you are doing is that you are killing the small business, or you are killing the. When people go to protest, they don't protest because they just want to protest. They protest because their businesses are dying. They protest because they need money to fulfill obligations. They protest because the banks are on their neck. Because we have a lot of failed bank loans now. Is it the vendor's fault that he has a failed bank loan? When he knew that he had a contract with government and he fulfilled the contract with government, and then government is to pay him. He took the loan based on this contract and the payment terms.
Of course, there was a time frame given.
There was a time frame given.
You shared the story, which was going to be my first question eventually, because when I first saw your video and the pain and the passion that came from that particular video, I knew you had a story.
Oh, that's just one of my stories.
Oh, really?
Yes. So because there's another instance, a job I did in May.
Okay.
For a particular, you see, unfortunately, I work a lot for non-governmental organizations. I work along for, and some of them are international.
Mm.
In fact, the particular one, the last year's own is an international one, which has a Nigerian domiciled office. The same thing with this, and the law, or when you send your purchase, when they send the purchase order, you send your invoice and sign the purchase order, which is like the agreement or the contract. They give you 10 working days. You have to give 10 working days before they are paid. As I speak with you, I'm yet to be paid for the job I did in May.
Wow.
As I speak with you, I did another job for them in June. I'm yet to be paid. So you ask
how do you move around the whole
exactly? So it is painful for us businesses. It is painful for small business owners. I'm not even near a medium-sized business. But how do you want me to continue to pay my workers? How do you want me to pay the sub-vendors who I use to achieve your job? And you have confirmed that the job is satisfactory. And then I make a call. And the person is saying, you should know us now. It's the normal thing. It is so uncultured. It is so damaging. It is killing small businesses. And we should not adopt this culture as Nigerians.
Absolutely.
In fact, we should come up with a policy that everyone should come up with a payment period plan. And if your payment period plan, because some of my friends abroad have seen my video and are like, what is it? You must insist. Let's do it this way. Let's do it that way. The funny thing about small businesses, they think that, they make us beggars. They make us beggars, but we just do our business. Why do I say they make us beggars? They know, they put you on the spot and say, because you are not patient enough, once we pay you this, we won't give you another job. Then you now begin to cower. And I now found out when I released that video that many people are in the same pain as I am. And they were like, somebody said, for once somebody is talking about this. And I said, so you guys have been going through all this, so why are you not talking about it? And they said, of course, we don't want to put ourselves in danger. I'm a media person. Even though you will not give me business, I will get business somewhere else because I know my onions. And I know that I can deliver.
But they'll tell you part of what they would give you also is visibility. This is one thing we have heard, not just from the government. They tell you, would give you visibility. Start this contract. Let's see how you...
Who is giving who visibility?
It's actually you.
Who is giving who visibility?
Right.
As a communications and media expert, like I said, I know my onions. Absolutely. I know what I do. I know I am an expert in it. And I know that I do what I do well. I'm proud of it. So I don't allow you cow me.
How do small business owners now navigate through this? Because just like you stated, it is out of fear that they go ahead to do these jobs even when they're not being paid. And just like you said, when some person saw your video, people began to congratulate you. Thank God someone has spoken up, which could mean that for years, this has been going on, but silence has become the culture as well. How do small business owners basically get to navigate and speak up consistently to ensure that their money are being paid to them?
Victor, when they continue to intimidate you, how would you want to speak up? You work here in Rapid TV.
Right.
Imagine it's just a scenario that you find something indiscriminate and all that with your employers. Would you go out and shout about it? Do you want to lose your job? So small businesses have begun, they have just, the culture of silence has to be there because they want to be in business. And let's not even talk about the corruption that is around delayed payments. There's so much corruption around delayed payments because you have some people say, I cannot pay you yet. You have to give me this percentage.
Okay.
Give me this percentage of what you are to be paid. Because I know when I pay you, you will not give me that percentage again. So give me this percentage of what is to be paid. And though you now begin to source for the percentage. And you get a call. Your paper is right now on my table. Oh. I'm ready to sign it off. But we need to make a deal. So that is the Nigerian culture. I don't want to call it a Nigerian culture, but it's a culture of corruption. But we should not allow any of it. The culture of corruption that leads to silence, the culture of delayed payments that leads to silence. Because you are gradually killing Nigerian businesses. You say, how do they navigate? Have you not learned that Nigerians are the best people to adapt to situations? Yeah. And we have adapted to fuel price. We have adapted to the economy as it is right now. And we should also know, because those institutions should also know that Nigerian small businesses and the informal sector occupy 60% of the economy. Absolutely. So you cannot joke with such an important sector. They should, because if they die, if that sector dies, we are practically killing the Nigerian economy.
Okay. Now that we have established that funding is one of the major issues that this contractor faces, and honestly, some of the points that you have made are quite relatable, right? And these contractors go to the banks. When they get to the banks, they are not able to meet with their own part of the demands from the bank. What do you think the government can do as regards providing funding for these contractors to execute contracts before they are being paid by the government?
That's a very good one. How do they execute contracts before they are being paid by the government? Should that be from the contractor's end or from the government's end?
This is from the government as regards policy. So you know that you have established that the interest rates are enormous.
Yes, so you need to. So it's either a government has, I don't know, soft loans for contractors and has a special intervention fund that they will give contractors, especially big time contractors that do those kind of businesses. Because we are talking of businesses of billions of naira. We are talking of business of hundreds of millions. So if there is a soft loan with reasonable interest, which is good. If anyone gets a loan to do business, a business loan of between 1-2%, at most 3%, and you are able to get 300 million or 100 million, at least 100 million to do that business, I'm sure that the contractors will smile. And let it be from the government. Let this money come from government. But so that it's not private owned.
But the government has said, here you would see that the president will say, oh, he has released 1.5 billion trillion naira. He should be given to the contractors. The ministers will give you assurance.
Is it released or allocated?
Sometimes it is released. The ministers will also assure you that this money has been released, but it never gets to the contractor. You are a communications expert. Do you think it is a communications gap, or you think you have mentioned fraud? It is predominantly fraud in the system.
And politics.
Okay.
Politics. Because government will always politicize everything, especially the Nigerian government. They will politicize everything. They put politics in every... I mean, why would they go about to say that they have paid, or they have released when they haven't released? The Nigerian, I remember when the contractors, and it's not today that contractors, the way contractors, government contractors protest in the Federal Ministry of Finance is, I mean, the number of times is the same number of times pensioners have gone to protest in Federal Ministry of Finance. Then you ask yourself, when the minister, sometimes the minister says there's money, sometimes there's no money. Then even when there is money, you have to be able to know someone to be able to be on a priority list. because we know that the monies probably cannot pay everything.
Everybody.
Cannot pay everybody.
So you must lobby.
So you must lobby.
So your name is part of the first batch.
First
of
batch.
Will be paid. Interesting.
So if you don't have something to lobby, so you see, the contractor, the small business owner, they are on the losing end all the time.
And you mentioned, while she was speaking earlier, that the small business actually contributes 60%
Yes.
to the economic growth. I'm sure the government knows this. This is based on data, right?
Yes.
Now, if a small business or small businesses that contribute 60% to the economic growth, which of course is now the highest, 40% can be distributed or shared among the macro and all of that. Now, if they know that 60% of the economic growth of a nation is being contributed by the SMEs, why then is there still a stifling? Why then is there still a delay? Why then is there sometimes most of these small businesses are not even paid for a very long time? Why?
Selfish interests, political interests. Selfish interests, political interests. So we have people who just, because of selfish interest, because of government's selfish interests, they prioritize other things to paying small businesses. Yes, we will not deny the fact that we have challenges in security in this country. We will not deny the fact that we have challenges with infrastructure in this country. But if you kill the small business owners, I'll give an example. If you go to Taiwan is an island country of 23 million people. If you go to Taiwan, the small businesses are like kings. They treat them like kings. In Taiwan, there's what is called the night market. The night market is where you get some of the best things, and it doesn't happen until in the night. The night market is on probably till 3, 4 a.m. Those are small business owners. I've experienced this. Small business owners. And it's a culture that they thrive on. It's a culture that they know adds a lot to their economy. Beyond the culture of the night market itself, there's the culture of the small businesses. I'm talking of small businesses of just to make noodles.
On the road.
On the street. Night market on the street. In the mornings, you see that street is cleared.
That's become a tourist attraction.
Exactly. So you see that street is clear. So they know that the man comes to the tree and he's making his noodles. He knows he's going to make money from it. So, my brother, we must we must reorder our priorities. We must reorder our priorities in this country so that we know that when we are talking about small businesses and the growth of the economy, we should make deliberate policies that will ensure that small businesses grow.
Okay.
Because how do you want a small business to scale when he's being owed here, and there? How would he scale? Because he's looking, whatever funds he's making, he's using it to now do operations. He's using it to do recurrent expenditure. There is no way it's going to scale. You won't think of, I want to expand. For what? Is it now when you are trying to survive that you will try to expand? Because you have, these are added to other costs of energy. You know the energy costs right now. I mean, this is a studio. I'm sure you are not on the AEDC. You are probably on extra, on diesel or something, solar or something. So there are so many extra costs.
Okay.
Taxes, cost of energy, cost of rent, everything comes together. Then now you have delayed payments.
We even frustrate. Okay. Now, the last time we had a conversation here, we had someone, he was a sports journalist, was actively served in the system. And one of the major questions we asked was regarding the NFF, where a certain coach had to go and demand for payment himself, because this same thing that is happening in this contract sector that we're talking about is also happening in sports, where funds are being released. Remember the incidents we had with Nigerian players not being paid, you know. So
No, is it one incident?
Many incidents, but the most recent one, which
Yes.
of course was that, I mean, failed us, didn't allow us to get to the World
Well,
Cup.
that's what they say. I don't
Exactly.
believe it.
But anyways, they went on strike because of payments like that. Now, when that conversation was in the social space, it was found out that the NFF had already released this
The funds.
fund, you know, but because of bureaucracy, some of the factors that
Bureaucratic bottlenecks.
exactly
They just
because
put it.
of some of the things that you have mentioned now, the money doesn't get directly to the people who actually need it to execute, you know, their own core responsibilities. Since we have established that this happens in different other sectors, what do you think that the government of Nigeria can do to close up these bureaucratic bottlenecks that have become a deterrent from people receiving payments that they are due?
So I don't think it's only government. Because I don't want to dwell too much on government. Government has its own part to play. And I've said that government should try and reduce its delay in payments. Yes, they may have funding gaps, which may also have affected their delay in payments. But no contractor should be owed more than 3 months.
But they make the policies. So
yes.
Regarding policies that other institutions
So they should
can now
enforce and keep their policies. Because when government, yes, government does it, and the private institutions come in and say, okay, we also want to do, we will give you 2 weeks. Let your 2 weeks be 2 weeks. If there is no 2 weeks, if you are not able to pay within 15 days at most, you are not able to pay a contractor within 15 days, then the contractor should be able to say, please add interest. Please add interest. For every day, let it be in the contract. For every day we delay, it will put a check on the client who wants to pay the vendor. And so if you say, oh, please add interest, you put a check on you. So if it is one person, it will take it out of your salary if you don't make sure that this person is paid at this time. So they should make sure that it is done. Put checks. And guess what? International organizations are taking the cue.
They're
so
starting to act alike.
They're acting alike. Because they see if a Nigerian organization can behave like this, then we can do same. After all, we are international. Or, like someone said, they do it in Canada. We are going to pay you, if you say we want to pay you as an NGO in 3 months, we'll give you 3 months to pay. Then you as a contractor, you're able to mark up and say, okay, I know that in 3 months I'm going to be paid, so I should be able to mark up to meet up mark up my costs to meet up that delay in payment, because 3 months is a lot. But where you are being paid, you are being delayed for 3 months and you are paid the same amount that you should have been paid 2 months ago at most. I mean, it's just not a win for the small business owner.
Let's talk about the responsibility rather of journalists. You know, a lot of times we set the agenda for this conversation. But do you think that we actually stay on this conversation until solution is being brought to the fore?
I intend to stay on it.
Yeah.
I'm a journalist. I intend to stay on it, even if it's a personal campaign. And that's why I am saying that every journalist should join me to stay on this campaign. Every media house should join me to stay on this campaign. You could make it like a public service announcement and just free. You don't need to, it's not an advert. Small business owners are the life wire of this economy. Pay them fast. Pay vendors fast. It could be a slogan. It could be, I mean, once it gets to the ears and it gets to the consciousness of these people, then they will take note of it.
Okay. What about the contractors themselves? Because we have talked about what the government can do regarding policies, you know, make sure that it's in your agreement, make sure that contractors are paid. If they are not paid, interest rates will be added, like we have said. But for contractors, what security measures can they take for themselves? Because, and I'll give you an example just to put context to what I'm saying. I mean, at some point we've all done businesses one way or another. But personally, I would rather receive payment in quarters than to receive payment monthly or after. So, because if it's a continuous project that you do with certain organizations, I'd rather you pay me in quarters. So pay me for the first quarter. Before it elapses, you pay me for the second quarter. This is like a security measure, a system that I have put in place to check with the organizations that I deal with. As contractors, what other measures do you think that they can put in place? I mean, at least if the government is not doing their part, at least you should also be able to do your part to ensure that, you know, you don't get into bad debt and
well, the truth about it is that for contractors, there's really nothing much you can do than just to make sure you look at the fine lines of every contract.
Okay.
Look at the fine lines of every contract and make sure that everything is stated clearly and you understand. Many contractors go into contracts, and I've been guilty of that. I chose not to be guilty again. Go into contracts without knowing the details. You just read it. You got to sign now. Just sign. And you send it. You put your name on it and sign. Whereas in the contract, it says, I can delay your payments for this amount of time. Then when you've done the contract and in 2 weeks, you haven't seen payment, you're like, did you not read your contract? Did you not read your contract? So look at the fine lines of every agreement. And if you do not agree with any agreement or contract, you have a right. And clients, both government, private, should not treat contractors as beggars. Because when a client, when for instance, you have an issue like that, and the contractor goes and says, please, can we talk about this? You know what some Nigerian businesses will do? I hope you know that you were the one who came first in this thing. There's second, though. We can go to the second person. That's a threat. And I also believe the FCCPC should come into this matter, which is the Federal Consumer Protection Council. They can come in to protect small business owners in this, especially in negotiating contracts. When the big dog, in quote, who are the clients, begin to intimidate contractors or vendors because they have the higher power, they have the financial muscle and all that. The FCCPC should come in to do something about it and protect the contractor, because at this point in time, the small business owner is the consumer.
Okay. All right, let's go for a very quick break now, and then when we'll come back, we're going to continue the conversation on delayed payment, delayed salaries as well here in the studio. Just stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. This is still the big conversation right here on Rapid Television. Of course, we have been speaking with our guest, Emmanuel Ohio Mokari, and of course we've been talking about delayed salaries here in our country, Nigeria. Of course, also delayed payment when it comes to contracts, basically. Once again, welcome and thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Now, one of the concerns that a lot of persons have raised when it comes to delayed payment and of course upon salary is the fact that many organizations do not have publicly stated record or payment policy that individuals can as well look into and then hold these companies or organizations accountable. Do you think this is something that should be explored, within the organizations here in our country, Nigeria?
Publicly stated payment policy for their staff or for sub-vendors or for everything. Everything, isn't it? Basically, yes. It's something that would help, definitely. That's all part of transparency. And if you look at corporate governance, transparency in what you do has to be, it's a given in corporate culture that you should put out everything. And in fairness, many organizations don't even know that this is what they are supposed to do. So the truth about it is that as long as if you started a business, learn corporate governance and corporate culture too. Learn it. I had the opportunity of working in beyond the media house. I worked in banks, so I was able to learn based on experience some aspects of corporate culture, And it has helped me. I wouldn't deny that it has helped me in this whole journey of being an entrepreneur. So basically, you need to state what exactly your policy is on payments. Is it for salaries? You have to be paid on this day. Is it for this? And the truth about it is that even if all this is publicly stated, issues like what we are talking about, delayed payments, contract, can also delay these salaries. Let us be honest. Nigerian businesses are struggling. They are struggling. So we cannot just say that. We cannot totally blame the employers. I'm not saying that there are no employers who do not deliberately. But you see, the corporate culture also has to be one that is empathetic.
Right.
So if you are empathetic towards your employees, they would understand and make them understand that, see the situation. They would understand with you and say, okay, we can bear with you. But when you make it a recurrent thing, that is where the problem is. So you have to make them understand that, see well what we are going through. We're having shortage of funds because of this, and this. But as soon as they pay, everything would flow.
Okay.
But really, don't blame the government. The employers totally. Don't always. Because being an entrepreneur, I have found myself in situations like that too. But like I said, you have to be empathetic.
That's right.
Because your workers would also understand with you. Just like they want better payments. When they increased the pump price of fuel went up, every worker was, whether private or public, wanted an increase in pay because cost of transportation has skyrocketed. So if the employer is empathetic and is able to say, okay, I will pay you this, I will increase your salary because of the cost of transportation. You should also have. It's not every time that we're going through this, go through these challenges. So if we are going through these challenges this month, or go through this challenge for 2 months, just know that we'll overcome and we'll get back to where we were.
I think communication, yes,
so communication is very important.
Because
yes.
There are instances where also these employers have taken for granted the empathy of the employees, because an employee is trying to understand. Oh, you see, it's a very delicate matter when it comes to employer-employees, because much as the employee wants to understand with the employee also has responsibilities that don't understand that they are trying to understand with the employer. I don't know if you know what I mean. But sometimes it becomes so difficult to understand because they also have responsibilities that they need to keep up with. So like you said, I'll still take lead from that. Communication is like the ultimate.
Yes.
The employers need to know how to communicate effectively with the employees, just so that there's a better ground.
And that is where the truth about it is that is where there is a lot of problem, because employers don't know how to communicate with employees. They don't know. They just feel because they even think they are doing you a favor by giving you a job.
Oh yes.
It's wrong. You shouldn't. The man is working for you. He's giving you a service. So you should appreciate that fact. Yes, you are the employer of labor, but it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street.
All right. Now, like Victor said from the start of the question, he could see your passion, from the videos. And of course, we can see this now because of lived experiences, And there are thousands of people who also have these experiences. They might have not done business with the government. They might have just done with someone within their environment, So what would you say to people like that who are still experiencing difficulty regarding, getting back their money after a bad investment or a bad contract that they got into with the government or, their business counterparts?
The truth about such cases is that, allow me to speak pidgin here. Say, now let God hand that thing there. Now God hand the day. Because the truth is, for organizations that are not established, it's difficult to have especially when there is no signed contracts. That's why I always say, no matter how small, if it's even a 100,000 naira contract, make sure you have a signed thing, because you can go to the law courts to claim. We should learn as business owners to stop doing verbal business.
Yeah.
It's part of what you learn in corporate governance.
Yeah.
Stop doing verbal business. Okay, Victor, so you go supply me those things now. How much? You say 50 naira. I say, okay, supply me like 100. Only 100. It's okay.
When you go pay?
When you go pay? No. You trust me now. You trust me, so I go pay. And that will be okay. Then you don't supply. Victor, I'll get half far. You don't, the money for this, Victor, take it easy now. Only you are the owe.
Can imagine that.
Now, I owe you are no keepers. So you see, there was no contract.
Agreement.
There was no sign. Put it on paper. We must learn to put things on paper. Because if you don't put it on paper, the person it's your word against his word.
Absolutely.
No matter how close you are with the person.
Absolutely.
No matter how close you are.
Money always is the cause of many differences in relationships today. Like friendships, business that it was not properly documented.
It's very difficult to, and I know why many people tend to keep this verbal thing going, the verbal culture of contracts, is because over the years they have had people who have kept to their word. They have kept to their word. They've been trustworthy. I'm preaching this today, but I've done a verbal contract before. In fact, my first major contract as an entrepreneur was a verbal contract. And the guy was trustworthy. The guy is still my business partner till today. In fact, he's more like a brother to me. And such are rare. So that is why it's always better to put it on paper.
On paper, absolutely.
Now, if you're speaking with business leaders today, what 3 practical changes would you recommend when it comes to, swift payment?
Swift payment. Victor, you're putting me on the spot. Because this one will be like jam question. No, because why I'm saying it's difficult to navigate that question, because you ask yourself, how do I want to advise a business owner to? Well, for swift payments, I think what I will say is that once you have your contract and they've delayed in payments, please get a lawyer to write them. Always, someone advised me something. He said, in every organization, if they have a legal department, liaise with their legal department, because their legal department will make them understand the import of what they are doing. So that is one. Liaise with legal department, make sure your contracts is clearly stated. When there is delay, liaise with legal department. If there is delay, let your lawyer send a warning to them that there's been delay. And make sure that there is constant communication. No matter how much they tell you that you are not patient, continue to worry them.
Interesting. Thank you so much. It's such an interesting conversation, and very important that we have it here because of some of the instances and the culture we are trying so hard to adopt. But yes, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Imewore Ohiamore. Thank you.
Ohiamokai.
Ohiamokai. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation.
You're welcome, Martha. It's been really nice being here, and I want to thank you for giving your space to this conversation, because it's an important conversation that we must continue. And I hope we continue it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, back to us in the studio. Like we said, it's a culture we're trying so hard to adopt, but something can still be done about it. And I just want to speak to the vendors themselves now. You are in a bid to want to deliver contract or get this contract, so you start to overpromise even things that you're not able to do, and you start to, relax your boundaries. Sometimes you'd realize that these contractors are the ones who say, oh, no problem, anytime. And like our guest said, verbal agreement is not an agreement. You have to get it in a written form just so that you can pursue what is due you legally if it gets to that point whatsoever. But yes, it's important that you take note of this. Any final thoughts?
Very true. Transparency is the word. Trustworthiness also used to be a very core foundation in our society. And over the years, we've lost that. And that's the reason I think our guest has now mentioned that it's important that beyond the verbal agreement, it needs to be written down, because again, people can no longer be trusted as much as possible. And I think it's important that, whilst we're having this conversation, solution has also got to be gotten from it. Various countries are adopting technology, the e-voicing, e-voicer right now, and they're making sure that payment is swift, very swift, But here in our country, we still have all of these delays and all of that. We need to be able to ensure that we don't continue to struggle on this. Again, just like our guest said, 60% of the country's economy is being generated by small businesses, and we need to support the small businesses, water them as much as possible, because we need them to thrive.
Insist on, I would say, a 70-30 payment.
If that works.
That 70-30 payments, because for service providers particularly, you cannot take your service back after you have offered us. It's done and it's done. So for people like that, 70-30 is your best bet. Unless you know who you're dealing with, of course. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation this morning. It's been a fantastic run with you. But just to remind you, we're active across social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, and on TikTok. It is at Rapid TV. We have a YouTube page that allows you to rewatch all of our episodes. It is at Official Rapid TV. And www.rbnradiotv.com allows you to connect with us from anywhere in the world. Good news, we will continue to say every single day, we're now on Free TV. Just download the Free TV app and search for Rapid TV and get connected with us all the way. Thank you so much for being here with us. My name is Martha Alu.
And my name is Victor. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.